So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, before we start the class, let us take the blessings of the beautiful deities of Sri Sri Radha Govind Ji. Sri Sri Radha Govind Ji ki Jai. So, we'll start from the fifth shloka of chapter 3. Yeah. So, in chapter 3, we are. So in chapter 3, shloka number 5, so we saw in the starting of chapter 3, Arjuna gets confused and so he asks Krishna. So because Krishna told Arjuna about so many yoga systems, right? Sankhya Yoga, Karma Kanda, Nishkama Karma Yoga. So Arjuna is totally confused now. So he asks Krishna, see, you are saying Buddhi Yoga is better than Karma Kanda. Then why are you asking me to fight? So, according to Arjuna, what is Buddhi Yoga for him? It is like renouncing and going to the forest and meditating. He's thinking Buddhi. Okay, that is what he is thinking Buddhi Yoga is. But what is Krishna trying to say Buddhi Yoga is? You engage everything, you do your duties and responsibilities without any expectation of results. That is Buddhi Yoga. So Arjuna got confused. So Krishna is trying to explain Nishkama Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga more in detail. So now Arjuna is asking, which is better? No, karma sannyas is better or buddhi yoga is better? What should I do? Please tell me. So in the previous slokas, we saw that Krishna is not at all encouraging karma sannyasa, going to the forest and renouncing. We saw that, right? So Krishna also tells in the fourth shloka that you're trying to run away from your duty, Arjuna, and take sannyas. See, if you do like that, you cannot get the highest perfection. You will get the highest perfection only when you do your duty. Okay, then you will get the highest perfection. If you neglect your responsibilities and duties, then you're committing sin because you're not performing your duties that are prescribed in your varnashrama dharma. You're going against them, right? That is like performing sin. Okay, so now let's see in the fifth shloka what Krishna is telling Arjuna. नाहि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठति अकर्मकृत् कार्यते हि अवशः कर्मा सर्वः प्रकृतिगैर्गुणैः. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So, what is Krishna telling Arjuna? You are saying you'll go take sannyas and sit in the forest and meditate. But nobody in this material world can just sit because the soul by nature is what it is active. Okay, it can never sit idle. Okay, for a second also it can't sit because forget about the physical body. Physical body, you may be sitting like that, but your mind is always working. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, even if you think you will go and meditate, you cannot do so because the soul is active. Okay, and depending on the modes of material nature, if you're in Sattva Guna, you will act according to that. If you're in Rajo Guna, you will act according to that. If you're in Tamo Guna, you will act per that mode. But you can never sit idle. Either helplessly because of these three gunas, we are somehow forced to act. I mean, somehow do some karma or do some action. But we can never be idle. We don't like to do. Sometimes, we think, right, I don't feel like doing this, I know I should not do this, but sometimes what happens, you helplessly do it. See, now when you accept Krishna consciousness, you don't eat onion garlic, and earlier you were of the habit that you go to the restaurants outside and eat. But now you know that you're not supposed to eat outside because they're in the restaurant. Mostly all the food is with onion and garlic. But still, sometimes when you're a neophyte devotee, your mind, even though you know, no, I should not go, I should not go, but still that taste and interest and everything is there. Somehow, even you, though you know it is not good, I should not go, but still you're dragged helplessly, right? Sometimes it happens. So you're dragged helplessly and you just given. Sometimes by purpose you work, you go to job, you do your at home work, but some work or the other, either helplessly or knowingly, but you have to do it. That is what Krishna is telling. See, don't think going to the just sitting in the forest and meditating, you're thinking, yeah, everything will happen. I mean, don't think like that, because the soul is very active by nature, so it can't be still anytime. Per the three modes, Krishna is telling, depending on the modes, you will have to act helplessly. Because now here Krishna is telling Arjuna, sorry, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya, and Kshatriya is in the mode of Rajoguna. So Rajoguna means you have to fight. That is your duty. So that's what Krishna is telling. See, because your Swabha, Krishna is telling Arjuna, your Swabhava, you're a Kshatriya. By nature, you're a Kshatriya. So you have to fight. And Krishna is telling, you still haven't reached that karma sannyasa stage. See, generally, those who go to the forest and meditate, they are very highly, what do you say? They are on a very high platform, right? So that's why Krishna is telling Arjuna, you're still not on that karma sannyasa stage. You're still in grihastha ashrama. So you still have that kshatriya swabhava. So because of the three modes, you have to do some kind of work. You can't refrain from working. See, what do these karma sannyasis do? They go to the forest, they renounce everything, they gain a lot of knowledge by reading these Vedas and Upanishads. They are actually no more interested in all these material activities. They have no material attachments and they are not interested in sense gratification. So actually, they get disgusted. They're not at all interested in all these material things. That and they get vairagya. So then they take karma sannyas. That is the correct way to take sannyas. But Arjuna, just because Krishna is telling, now immediately you see in the battlefield, you saw all your relatives will die. With that pain, you are trying to take sannyas. That is not sannyas. That is not the way you take sannyas. Just because your relatives are dying, they will be in pain, doesn't mean that you would immediately take sannyas. So Krishna is telling like this: the karma sannyasis, they don't take sannyas. The karma sannyasis, they, because they hate material attachments, they have no what do you say? They don't like all these they're not interested in sense gratification in all these. So that is why they get vairagya and they go to they renounce everything. They go to the forest and they do all this meditation. Not just immediately, I will, because I am seeing my relatives die out of pain, now I will immediately take sannyas. That is not correct sannyas. Krishna is telling Arjuna. So, like this, you should not take karma sannyas, Arjuna. So, because, and he's telling karma sannyas is not the correct path also. Because why? Because any man cannot sit idle without doing any work. See, Krishna is not encouraging karma sannyas, like how the rishis and all do. They go to the forest and meditate, especially in Kali Yuga. Okay, so that's why he's saying, because we can't sit idle. Depending on the three modes, we have to do some work continuously. Okay, so nobody can even refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Okay, so the mind is so active. So even for a moment, we can't stop it. Even when we are sleeping, also, we get dreams, right? It means the mind is still working. When the body is resting, even the mind is still working. That's why we get dreams. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada in the purport is saying that if someone takes to Krishna consciousness, giving up his prescribed duties, or maybe he's not able to do bhakti properly, and he may fall down from the standard. Okay, sometimes we take to bhakti, we practice 4 5 years, and then because of whatever may be the reason, we fall down in bhakti or we go out of bhakti. But still, what is Krishna saying through Srila Prabhupada? He's saying that there is no loss for him. Okay, so that also we see why. But on the contrary, if he does all his duties well, but is not in Krishna consciousness, then what is the use? There is no use. See, you put so many zeros, 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 zeros. What is the use of all that zeros? But if you add one before the zeros, there is some value. It becomes 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, 1 lakh. Because of that one, all the zeros gain value. So, like that, when you add Krishna to all your duties and responsibilities, that is the real thing. Oh, if you just do your, if you think that I'm doing my duties perfectly, everything fine, but there's no Krishna consciousness, it's like taking out one and just putting zeros. It's of no value. Okay, so that's what Krishna is trying to say. So, along with your duties, you have to do bhakti also. So, that's why, people who take bhakti seriously, when the first thing they get up in the morning, they do is they chant their minimum 16 rounds in the morning before they go out for their job or business or whatever. Because this 2 hours of chanting that you do in the morning is like a kavacha. Krishna gives you protection. See, now you are stepping outside your house, going into the world of Maya. Right? So if you have this kavacha of the Hare Krishna mantra, when you go out, Maya can't do anything to you. So just giving 2 hours in the morning, you will have protection 22 hours outside from Maya. Okay, so most of them, they take this vow somehow or the other. I'll finish my 16 rounds in the morning before I step out of the house. So that's how they're so serious. Okay, so because bhakti is so important for them. Okay, so then in the weekends they go for satsang, because the whole week they were so much in, I mean, like, because they interact with their job colleagues or whomever, college people going to college with their college friends, all school and everything, who are in Maya business and everything. They talk with the different kind of people, right? So they come to satsang every weekend. They associate again with the devotees and they recharge again, and they regain strength so that they can fight again the whole week. Okay, so that is how we have to gain strength. So here, that's what Krishna is saying. See, don't. I mean, I don't recommend karma sannyas at all, because you can't sit idle for a moment because of the gunas that we have acquired. Where helplessly we have to be active, because that's the guna of a soul. It cannot just sit still for any even a moment. It is very active. The embodied spirit soul is always active, pushes the encasing body also into constant activity. It's because of the soul, right? The body works, or whatever movement we do. So it pushes the body. The soul says, you do this work, you do this work. So that's why we do it. So, but what is the alternate? Engage in Krishna consciousness is better than being dictated by the illusory energy. So, what are they saying? Instead of doing all these karmic activities in Maya, it is better to engage your senses in Krishna consciousness. And rather than engaging your senses for your sense gratification, use it for Krishna consciousness, to satisfy the senses of Krishna. Why? Because illusory energy binds the soul to material modes, right? Maya, why are we trapped in this material world? We are tightly tied up by the ropes of these three gunas. Aren't we? Aren't we tied with the ropes of the three gunas? That's why, right? Sometimes we behave in sattva guna. We feel like going to the temple. We come with devotees. We come to the online classes like Bhagavad Gita classes. So that's when we are in sattva guna. That's why we try to come. But sometimes, the same soul is, I mean, like, so same body in the material world is like in Rajoguna. That time we are like rushing. We are rushing to pack our box, cook our food, go to the office, run here, make money. So that is Rajoguna. We are in Rajoguna that time. Tamoguna is when we are in ignorance, like I'm sleepy. That is night time. So like that. So different. We have all these three modes in us. So the material energy means we are working based on these modes itself. Sometimes it's a mixture of one or two modes or all the three modes, whatever that combination. So that's why we behave according to the modes. Respite only through purificatory process driven in the Shastra. So the only remedy is, Krishna is telling, you have to undergo the purificatory process given in the Shastras. Actually, what we do to undergo gradual purification, what Krishna is saying, per the Vedas and Shastras, we have some, we are per the Varna Ashrama, we have some roles and responsibilities to fulfill. So slowly, if we try to do those, because what are the roles and responsibilities meant in Varna Ashrama? They are meant to satisfy Vishnu or Krishna, right? So that is why those rules and responsible duties and responsibilities are mentioned in the Varnashrama. If we work per that, we are slowly we will get purified. Okay, so that is what I mean, like, is it a slow purification process. But what are they saying? In Krishna consciousness, no purification is required, as it is self-purificatory. Why? See, Krishna consciousness separately, you're not doing anything. You're just engaging your senses in Krishna consciousness. What you're doing at home only, anyway you eat, the same thing, the same tongue, same eyes you're using to cook food and taste food. But what is happening? Only thing is you're offering that Naivedyam or Bhoga to Lord Krishna. We put a tulsi because, I mean, like, when you offer it to the Lord, obviously there's no onion garlic, right? So you offer it, put a tulsi, and just leave it for 10 minutes, requesting the Lord to have the Bhoga. And then after 10 minutes, you can come and take that prasadam and have it. So you're not doing any special thing, right? It itself, that process itself is purifying. You anyway have to cook, but instead of directly eating, the one thing that you're doing is you're offering it to the Lord. You're saying, thank you so much for giving me this food. First, you please have, you honor it, Krishna. Then we will have the Bhogas prasadam. Okay, so separately, like above, you don't have to say that, oh, if you do this yagna, then you will get the benefit of going to heavenly planets. Oh, if you do this thing, you will get purified. You don't have to separately go to the temple and do something separate. Whatever is given in the Shastras for your ashrama, like we all are grihasthas. So for that, there'll be a big list, like grihasthas have to do like this, like this, like this. You don't have to do all that. Just by practicing Krishna consciousness, it itself is purifying. That's what they're trying to say here. So you can see here, right, the chart. See, Sankhya Yoga is impractical since soul is active in nature. Okay, what is Sankhya Yoga? Knowing about the soul, right? So what they're saying, see, if you see in the green box, active in nature, they're showing the soul active in nature. In the blue boxes, you can see, right? When it is in contact with material nature, it associates with modes of material nature. That is tamoguna, three gunas. Okay, so it acquires one of the modes and acts according to that. But what it should actually do, it should be, see, it should, per the Vedas, you have some, what is the roles and responsibilities. So you have some prescribed duties and recommended in the Shastras or your Vedas. So if you perform those duties, prescribed duties, the soul, prescribed duties purify the soul from affinities, right? So if you follow what is mentioned in the Shastras and do your duty accordingly, you slowly get purification. That slowly leads to Krishna consciousness. So they're saying if you don't do that, then there is failure. You cannot get Krishna consciousness. Okay, what do we generally do? Otherwise, see, occupation dictated by illusory energy. If we are not engaged in Krishna consciousness, we will be involved in Maya consciousness. Then what we'll do? We will be doing all material activities like go. I mean, like just doing material things like 24 hours. I mean, like you'll be working like a donkey just to get money, so that on the weekends you can enjoy yourself, going shopping, movies, parties. So you'll be wasting your valuable human life and doing all such things which you're not supposed to do. But what you're supposed to do, you don't do. Okay, so we should not waste this valuable human life in just working like donkeys, you know. But we should work, since okay, this you have to maintain your soul and body. What Prabhupada says is simple living, high thinking. Don't go over for comforts of your body, because this body will anyway give you trouble. The more you give comfort, the more it will give you troubles. See, the more you are now, maybe you are comfortable, but if some disease comes, the same bed will give you pain. Now you're happily sleeping on a cushion bed or whatever comfortable bed. But if you get some disease, even though the bed is comfortable, at that time you don't realize that it is comfortable. Krishna, sorry. So that same bed is like a burden. You will feel like, oh my God, how many days do I have to sleep? When will this disease go? When will I get up from this bed? You will feel like that. See, the same comfort that you were earlier thinking it is comfort will become a burden. It will become a this thing, a pain for you. So that's why Prabhupada says this material world is basically just dukhalayam only. You think there is happiness. See, actually, when someone, like for example, you must have seen in movies, or because we have no personal experience, we see that a criminal is dipped into water. His head they catch and they dip him into water, and he'll be desperately gasping for breath. At that time, when they think that he's going to die, then they take the head from the water out. Then that person, he will take his breath like that, right? So that small gap we think is happiness, but before we think the happiness is over, I mean it's still there, they again put the criminal in the water again. So this is how the material world is. So we think that small gap that we are taken up above the water, oh my God, we got a chance to breathe. That is happiness we are thinking. Again, we are again dipped into that water. Means the troubles and difficulties of this material world. So we should know that this is Dukkalayam. There is no happiness, no comfort. We are trying to just run after these comforts. For that, we are like, we are working like donkeys, double shift, working for more than required. So we earn money, and now we think that in the weekends, now is the time for relaxation. I want to go here. I want to go to that spa. I want to go to this hotel. I want to go to this movie. I want to do this shopping. So we waste all that money like donkeys, hogs. We earn, and then we spend, like, or we go on international tours, or we do all these things, and we think that is very what do you say, comfortable. That is so what do you say, what is the word we use, they think that is great, great, so much comforts. I'm going to an international tour, I'm lavishly spending, I have this, I have that. People, we see many people saying this, showing off that they have so much in their house, this is what I have. But after all, it's no use. So we should try to understand that. Okay, so third one, sixth shloka, sorry. So that's what they're saying. See, if you see in the left hand side of the picture, people who are doing Krishna consciousness, right? See, there is no loss if there is fall down also. Why? See, for people who do Krishna consciousness for 4 or 5 years and they fall down, there is no loss. Why? Because if they have done 50% of their bhakti this janma, it is of no loss. So in the next janma, he's sure to get a human birth wherein he will continue his bhakti from 51. So that surety is there that he will get human form. That surety is there. He will get the human form where he can still continue his bhakti. Okay, but if how much ever you pile up in this material world, suppose you become a crorepati or billionaire pati or whatever, when you die, all that is lost. In the next janma, you have to again start from scratch. You have to build everything. Your education, maybe you've done IIT, JEE, JIPMER, or whatever. All that is lost. You have to start from right from nursery again. You have to start. But your bhakti is not like that. It is like an eternal credit. It stays with you forever. Even after your death, it comes into your next birth and it continues from where you left off. Okay, that's why doing bhakti, there is no loss. But if you unnecessarily spend your time doing all these material activities, which will go off from your in your next birth. So don't waste time. Use time very valuably for things which stay with you permanently, not for those temporary things. Okay. So now let's go to sixth shloka. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mityacharah sayuchyate. So what they are saying, see about karma, about sannyasi is one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself, is called a pretender. See now, what do you think? Seeing that sannyas in the picture, are you getting the feeling that he is a renounced person? Can anybody tell me? Mataji is one of you. Can
No,
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 right?
no, no, no.
Yeah, see, we are laughing also seeing him. He's catching a phone and he's smoking ganja, he's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so we should not, that's what Krishna is saying. We should not be like that. That's why Krishna is saying, don't try to be a pretender of taking sannyas. Okay, so you should be real. We see, if we see our Prabhupada and Acharyas and everybody, they are preaching so much about Krishna consciousness. But these sannyasis, they do everything. They all do all types of drug activities. They smoke. They have all these gadgets and whatnot. They do. So that's why Krishna is telling he's because there are many sannyasis who pretend to be sannyasis. They want to live a life like a sannyas just to get food for name, fame. Because sannyasis they're respected everywhere, right? So they get money nicely, they get all these fruits and food offerings nicely, they get respect, everything. So that's why many people, they pretend to be sannyasis. So that's why Krishna is telling, is strictly prohibiting karma sannyas. So he's telling those who give up their duties and go to the forest and accept sannyas, and these people they usually gain knowledge. Sometimes there are fake sannyasis. Not all are true and good. I mean, we don't say all sannyasis are fake, but they are in Kali Yuga. Most of them are fake. Okay, they from outside they dress like sannyas, but inside his mind is always on sense gratification. His mind dwells always on sense objects. He plans how to enjoy and everything. If I get this money, I will do this. I will do that. Oh, he will be remembering all the sense gratification that he did. So such people are called Nityachari. So they're saying in the last line of the shloka, right? Nityachara sa uchati. Mityachara means pretender. So such people, Mityacharis are called, they are called pretenders. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, see, if you are still attached to material things, you are not fit to take karma sannyas. So who should take karma sannyas? Who are free from all these material attachments, they have no sense gratification, so they get vairagya and then they come renounce everything, all their responsibilities and duties, and they come to the forest and they meditate on Lord. So such people should take karma sannyas, not pretenders. Just for a moment, sometimes we see, right, people get angry, oh, I'll go away from home. They will say in immediate anger. Not that is not like taking renunciation. Just because now Arjuna on the battlefield, because he suddenly saw that he's going to kill his relatives, out of pain, he's saying, no, no, I don't want to kill, I will take sannyas. Not like that. Okay, we should get that vairagya, that detachment from from material objects. We should have no sense gratification. They don't have. They get vairagya. They're not interested at all. That's why they move away from all this. That's why they come to the forest and they meditate here. So that is the true thing. But now in Kali Yuga, that is not possible. That's why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is telling Arjuna also, see, you don't take karma sannyas. Instead of that, it is better you, I mean, like in the next shlokas, he will tell, it's better you sweep the temple rather than pretending, taking fake sannyas and calling yourself a sannyas and putting in your mind all thinking about all the sense gratification. Instead of being a fake sannyas, it's better even if you do temple cleaning. That is so much times better. That's what Krishna tells in the next shlokas, coming shlokas, he will tell. Let's see. Yastu indriyani manasa niyamya arjuna karmendriyaihi karma yogam asaktaha sa vishishyate. On the other hand, now he's talking about a sincere person now. If a sincere person tries to control the real karma sannyas he is talking about, okay. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga, that is in Krishna consciousness without attachment. So he's talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. So he is by far superior. See, he's saying instead of just being a karma sannyasi and just pretending be a fake sannyasi, just outwardly you may be wearing all that kashaya, orange robes, but inside you are still having all that attachment to material things, sense gratification, and you're just being a pretender. Outside, maybe you're sannyas. Everybody will give you respect and do everything, but inside you're still fake. But instead of being like that, it's better you be a Nishkama Karma Yoga. Like whatever work you're doing, do it for Krishna. For instance, you're doing job, do it for Krishna. Say Krishna Arpanam. Krishna, I have to live, I have to make a living. I mean, Prabhupada always says in the Shastras, it is said the ladies, they have to work only if there is a necessity, and if the husband says yes, then the ladies have to go out and do a job if there is a necessity. Or if only the husband provides and it is sufficient for the family, then ladies should not work at all. Okay, so that is the thing. So now, what was I trying to say? I got diverted. Okay, so actually, the Prabhupada says that ladies are not supposed to work. They have to nicely take care of the family, the children, and everybody. Okay, so that is the concept here. I mean, I went somewhere. If I remember, I'll just try to get back to that point. Okay, so here Krishna is saying, see, if rather than being a pretender, if you are sincere, so that's what he's saying. Yeah, I was talking about karma yoga, right? You do your activities. See, if you are doing a job, okay, so you do the job, you say Krishna Pranam. Krishna, I have no option. If you're a lady, I have no option. I have to work, but I offer all the results of this job to you. Okay, what can you do? You'll be getting some money, right, monthly. That you can give how much ever every month you can give it to for the activities of Krishna consciousness. Okay, that way your money gets purified. Right now you have to eat 3 times or 4 times a day. So what you do, you cook and you offer bhoga to the Lord. You have it as prasadam. So that is also Krishna Arpanam. You're offering to the Lord. Whatever you do, like your children are studying, going to school, Krishna, I'm studying for you so that if I in the future I may get a good job, so with that I can use that money for propagation of Krishna consciousness. Or maybe I can, if I move into IT background, maybe I can develop a screen wherein I can help propagate Krishna consciousness. Or I may become an artist where I can draw Krishna images. So all this, like everything, whatever you do, just direct it to Krishna. Nothing like specially you have to do. Whatever daily activities you're doing, just divert it to Krishna. That's all. It's so easy. That's not at all difficult. All your material activities become Krishna consciousness. That's why they say it is consciousness. It just is the matter of consciousness. This material and spiritual is nothing but it's just a matter of consciousness. You just change your consciousness, it becomes spiritual. Okay, so Krishna is telling Arjuna, do your duty, keeping Krishna in the center. So any activity, material activity that you do, keep Krishna in the center and do it. So Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, it is better to work as a sweeper in a temple, okay, rather than a person who's meditating or who's a fake sannyasi who's trying to make a living out of by accepting karma sannyas. He's just doing it for name, fame, respect, for just food, for eating food, some money, like that he's doing. So that is, he doesn't agree. So it's better you work as a sweeper in the temple. Sweeper in the temple means what? You're doing Krishna conscious activity, right? So that's what they're encouraging. See, prime Swartha Gati or goal of self-interest is to reach Vishnu. See, what is our goal at the end of the day? When we die, we want to die with the smaran of Krishna, Lord Krishna, right? We want to remember Krishna or say Hare Krishna and leave our body. Okay, so prime goal is that. So for that, entire institution of Varna and Ashrama are designed to reach this goal of life. Okay, so we saw right here in the previous thing. See, if you do our prescribed duties per the Shastras, okay, slowly that purification happens. Because of that purification, slowly you come into Krishna consciousness. Okay, so that's what they're trying to say. Finally, the thing is, we have to be Krishna consciousness. So reached by members of every ashrama and varna through service in Krishna consciousness. So what is this roles and responsibilities that are given in the Shastras? We do those duties properly, it is like we're satisfying Lord Krishna or Vishnu. Okay, so that's why those roles, roles and responsibilities are given in the Shastras. See, if a Brahmana does these responsibilities and duties, it's like he's satisfying Vishnu. Okay, if a Grihastha, he does these roles and responsibilities, then per the Shastra, then he is fulfilling, satisfying Krishna. So like that. So we get purified. See, pretentious exhibitions are detrimental in achieving the goal. So slowly like this, we will come close to Krishna consciousness, wherein we will directly practice Krishna consciousness. We won't indirectly do Krishna consciousness, but directly we will be doing Krishna consciousness by doing sadhana, by doing seva in the temple. So all this. Okay, we'll get a better understanding of what Krishna consciousness is. We do our sadhana, that is, we do everyday chanting of 16 rounds minimum. And then we read Prabhupada books, we hear from senior Vaishnavas, and then we do seva in the temple, we serve the deities. So we start doing all these. Okay. So the same thing is mentioned here in this chart here. So 6 to 7, we see one who restrains. The same thing, what 6 and 7 we read, right? This is 7. So that is mentioned here. See, pretender, he is the greatest cheater. He shows that he is in deep meditation, but his mind dwells on sense objects and his philosophy has no value. Because he's a pretender, he obviously has no knowledge at all. Whatever comes to his mind, he will say. So knowledge stolen by illusory energy. So he's in Maya because he wants name, fame, money, respect, food and everything. Okay, but so far actually when people have sense enjoyment and they're not in Krishna consciousness, for them they are telling this process, indirect process per varna and ashrama. See, brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa, what they have to do, they have to follow the rules and regulations or mentioned in the shastras. Then what happens? Gradual purification happens because you're following what is mentioned in the shastras. But you're ashrama and you're following it. So gradual purification happens. So now in the 7th shloka we saw, right? But for a sincere person, what does he do? He engages directly in Krishna consciousness. How? By doing all his actions. Whatever action he does for Krishna. So he does job, he does for Krishna. He goes to school for Krishna. So any activity that we're doing, we just say Krishna Arpanam. Krishna, this is an offering to you. And then we proceed. Anything, prasadam we eat, we thank Krishna. There's what do you say? Before we eat prasadam, we tell a mantra and then we thank Krishna and then we start eating prasadam. Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave Swalpa Punyam Vatam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate Sharira Vidya Jal Jodindriya Tahaikal Jive Pele Vishasagoring Tara Mate Jihvati Loba Moy Sudurmati Take Cheta Katna Samsare Krishna Baro Doya Moy कोई बारी जिह्वा जय स्वप्रसादान दिलो बाई से अनामृत पाओ श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेम डाको चैतन्य निताय जय निमाय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर. So we say this prayer before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, because we are thanking God for giving us this prasadam. See how many of us get a chance to eat prasadam daily. How fortunate we are that we are able to have Krishna prasadam, right? So we thank the Lord because He's engaging our tongue in speaking about Krishna and tasting Krishna prasadam. So we thank the Lord. Please always engage us. Give us your Krishna prasadam. Please let us not use our tongue for the prajalpa or useless talk. See, we talk so much useless talk, right? We talk, oh, this lady got this dress, this lady got this gold ornament, this lady got this dress. Oh, this lady went to international tour. This lady got this TV, this fridge, this thing, that thing. This serial, this happened. This movie came. That party, that lady wore this. So we talk so much nonsense with this tongue. So we have to, that's why we don't want to waste our energy on talking on such useless topics. So we pray to Krishna day in and day out. That's why. Please engage, use my tongue in something valuable. Let me taste your Krishna prasadam. Let me talk about you. So we pray to them. Okay, let's see the 8th shloka. नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म जायो हि अकर्मणः शरीरा यात्रा पीचते न प्रसीद्येत् अकर्मणः. So translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. See, Krishna is telling you, do your prescribed duty per your varna ashrama, because that is better. If you do your duty is better than not working, than being a sannyas. That's what he's trying to say. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. True, right? That's what we say. See, we have to, when we are in this material world, we need to maintain our body and soul together. For that, we need money. How will money come? If we do something, right? Job only. Okay, so that's what Prabhupada says. Do how much ever is needed. Do 9 to 5 job. How much ever is needed. You lead a simple life. Don't go for the luxury, comfortable life. Don't live for the sake of others. It's not that, oh, look at that person. He has a 4-bedroom house. Wow. Don't go for all that adoration and all that. Okay, that is just temporary. We are not sure how long you will stay in that house, or we never know when the earthquake will come and that house will break. So anything can happen, right? If Krishna desires, anything can happen. Either you can go off from this world, or that house, because of some earthquake or some reason, it may go off, right? So we should not worry about these material things so long that we can maintain our soul and body together by simple living. We do that, and the rest of the time we use it for Krishna. That's it. That is our permanent asset. We should not be bothered about these material things which are temporary. Okay, and we should not waste. Prabhupada says that, see, Prabhupada, he never used to give importance. He just used to have this small mirror in his hand just for putting that tilak. Right? That is the importance he gave to body. Only to put the tilak, he used to put that small mirror, this small size mirror. He never used to encourage makeup, all these. Oh my God, nowadays we ladies do so much of makeup for hair. My God, all these dyes, face makeup, creams, whatnot. They use hair creams to remove hair. Oh my God, whatnot. Prabhupada says they wear nail polish also. Prabhupada say those who wear nail polish and all that and grow long nails, na, Prabhupada used to compare them to Surpanaka. Surpanaka also just ready like got dressed up like that. Prabhupada used to say, those who put all this makeup and wear long nails and this hair, red color, green color, whatnot color hairs, Prabhupada used to say they are Surpanakas. Right? So Prabhupada says, don't give importance to the body. You know, it'll anyway, how much of cosmetics you apply, everybody knows that you are old. You know, at the end of the day, you may look young, but they know your age, they know you, everything. And in fact, they may laugh behind you, but in front of you, they'll praise you. Oh, you look so beautiful. You look so nice. They may say that, but in the mind, they backward, they'll say, oh my God, she's so old, but she's so cautious. And all this they will tell behind your back. That is material world. So we don't try to show off ourselves for others. We live for our sake, you know. We live for Krishna, to please Krishna, right? How much, because we know how much ever we try to please people in this world, they are always backbiting. They are never satisfied. See, you will never be satisfied and they will also never be satisfied. So it's better to satisfy somebody who is satisfied by doing even one small work. That is Krishna. So we should always try to satisfy Krishna rather than satisfying everyone around us. It is said now, if you satisfy Krishna, you're satisfying everybody. Okay? So, Krishna is saying here that that is why you should do your prescribed duty as a Kshatriya. So, everybody has to work to maintain their physical body in this material world. Right? So much. So, Krishna is encouraging do Nishkama Karma Yoga. Okay, work for Krishna. So, you have to work, but work for Krishna. Okay, because working is so important, because we can't without working, how will we maintain our body and soul together? We need money, right? For that we have to do some job. So he's saying you do Nishkama Karma Yoga, but you don't take Karma Sannyas. Okay, so now see, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become pretender like that fake sannyasis. So the Lord emphasizes on the performance of one's prescribed duties. So he's telling you do your prescribed duties per your Varna Ashrama mentioned in the Shastras. So being Grihastha and Kshatriya, Arjuna was advised to perform his duties. See, Arjuna is a Grihastha and is a Kshatriya, right? So per that, what is his duty? He has to fight. So that's why Krishna is telling you, do your duty. Such what will happen if he does his duty like that, if he fights? Such performance would gradually cleanse his heart and free him from material contamination. See, if you follow the Shastras and do your responsibilities, duties and responsibilities, it is like you're satisfying Vishnu or Krishna. So obviously you're slowly getting purified. All the dirt in your heart, the lobha, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya is getting cleaned slowly, slowly, slowly. Okay, so so-called renunciation of activity is never approved. So karma sannyas, Krishna is not approving, is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture. Some work has to be performed to maintain one's body and soul. So we discussed, right? The soul can never be it is not it cannot sit at one place, so it's always active, so it has to work. So even to maintain our body and soul, we have to do some job. So materialistic propensities need to be purified. So how will our materialistic propensities be purified? That's what they're saying, right? We can purify by following the Vedas or the Shastras. Per the Shastras, we do our prescribed duties, and then that means we are satisfying Lord Vishnu. So, lording over material nature is an impurity that has to be cleared by doing prescribed duties. What do we think when we come to this material world? We think I am the enjoyer. I'm the lord of material nature. We think like that. Everybody has to listen to me. I am the enjoyer. I am the master. I only want to enjoy that. I only want to enjoy this, everything I only want to enjoy. Everybody has to listen to me only. Whatever I say, they have to listen. This is what is the mentality we have. This is the impurity that we have. Okay, so how will all that be cleared? That is, they'll be cleared by doing prescribed duties, by doing the duties that are mentioned per your Varna Ashrama in the Shastras. Okay, without doing so, renouncing work and living at the cost of others cannot confer one. Oh, this is cut off, I think, something. So that's what they're saying. See, if you don't do this and you go to this, go and accept karma sannyas, you will be a pretender. See, because you are full of so many material attachments and you take karma sannyas, what is the use? You are still thinking materially only, but outside you are like sannyas, but inside you are like bogi, enjoyer. So that is of no use. You are cheating yourself and you are cheating people also. So that's what they're trying to say here. So the same thing is said here. See, performing prescribed duties is better than not working. See, if you perform prescribed duties, what happens? Gradually, purification of heart takes place. Okay, if you renounce, what happens? You fall down, since activity is given up before purifying heart. See, why you fall down? Because you are still not, you have left all your prescribed duties, okay, but still in your mind you have material attachment, right? You outwardly you are showing yourself as sannyas, but inside you still have all those material attachments, so you fall down. You're a fake sannyas, right? So that's why you fall down. You really are not who can accept, who can renounce generally? Those who have no interest in material activities, or those who have no sense gratification. They've become vairagi. So such people are eligible to take sannyas, but not pretenders, right? They fall down. Okay, that's what they're saying. So you should, what you should do, that's why you should do your prescribed duties. Then what will happen? Slowly, the purification of heart will happen. That is good, Krishna is saying. See, yagna means Lord Vishnu, sacrificial performances, all meant. Why do we do yagna? Who is the yagna bhokta? See, it's Vishnu. Yagno by Vishnu. So all yagnas are meant to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Performance of yagnas and serving Lord Vishnu directly serve the same purpose. So it means when you are doing yagna and you are doing devotional service to Vishnu, that is also the same. That's what they're saying. They serve the same purpose. Both are working in Krishna consciousness. The Varnashrama institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. See, when we are per the Varna Ashrama, we are following whatever is mentioned, the responsibilities and duties per the Shastra. That time also you are satisfying Lord Vishnu, because those are the roles and responsibilities per the Shastras. Who has written all these Vedas? It has come from God Himself, right? Who wrote? Vedavyas wrote. Vedavyas is who? He's an incarnation of the Lord, right? Okay, so when we do those roles and responsibilities that are given the Shastras, it is like we are pleasing Lord Vishnu. Varnashrama charavata purushena paraha puman Vishnur aradyate. That's what they're saying. See, the main purpose of Varnashramas, following the Varna and Ashrama, is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Sense gratifying work done in this material world is a cause of bondage. See, the more you get attached to these sense objects, the more, see, it's like adding a fuel to fire. See, if you want to extinguish a fire, will you put more of fuel? But you think, oh, I want to extinguish the fire, and you put more fuel, what happens? The fuel increases. But here, sense gratifying, that's what they're saying. You think the more you enjoy, the more you satisfy your desires, the more you are getting attached to this material world. Okay, which is the cause of, see, the more you're attached, you don't feel like leaving that. See, if you're attached to a person, husband, wife, children, even when you're leaving the body, you will think, oh, my child, oh, my husband, oh, my, you'll be going with that thought only. Or if you're interested in your house or property, oh, I'm leaving my house, oh, I'm leaving my property, oh, who will take care of all this? I am going now. With that thought, if you go, it is a bondage, because again you'll be born here in this material world. Because of your attachment, it's like a bondage for you. You will again come here to this material world, not necessarily in the form of a human being. Maybe as a dog in that house, or as a lizard in that house, or whatever insect in that house, or whatever, but still, so that you can be there. Okay, so too much of attachment of all these sense objects will cause bondage. Anything, not sense objects, your family members, wealth, property, whatever be it. So any sense object, any material object. Okay, so good and evil work have their reactions, binding the performer. See, when you do anything for yourself, there is either a bad or a good reaction for anything. Correct? Whatever action that you do for yourself, if you do some charity, you will get good karma. And if you, suppose, for instance, you slap somebody, you will get bad karma, right? So, whatever, if you do anything on your behalf, you will have either bad or good reaction. So if there is bad or good karma, it means you have to come back to this material world to enjoy or suffer that karma. Right? So you are forced to come back again to this material world. So if you do anything for your sense gratification, there will be good and bad karma, for which you will again have to come back and suffer and enjoy the reactions. For that, you have to again come back to this material world. So you will be like this, roaming in the cycle of birth and death. But working in Krishna consciousness is the only way to liberate one, gradually elevating him to God's kingdom. If you work in Krishna consciousness, if you work to satisfy the senses of Krishna, then there is no karma for you, because you're doing it to not please yourself, right? You are doing it to please Krishna, right? When you try to please Krishna, there is no karma. It is not for yourself, right? So there's nothing in your this thing khata now. It's totally for Krishna. It is akarma. So when there's no karma, what is the reason for you to come back? You don't have to suffer. You don't have to enjoy in this material world. So akarma, then you go back to Godhead. Okay, so diligently done under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna. So who tells us about all this? Till now, all of us didn't have we didn't know the concept of, I mean, I'm not sure about you all, but I didn't know the concept of we could go back to Godhead, we would be relieved from all this misery and everything. I came to know about this only after coming to Krishna consciousness, ISKCON. Otherwise, earlier I used to think there is only two concepts, one going to heaven, one going to hell. That's all. I just knew only these two. But how did we know all this? That's what they're saying. Under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna, because of the devotees, we came to know all this. Right? Because of their mercy. Somehow or the other, when we have that pious karma, Krishna, through the acharyas, he gives us that causeless mercy where we can come in contact with the devotee. See, when we come in contact with the devotee and then we come into these satsangs and listen to these classes, gradually we come to know everything slowly. What is the purpose of this human life? Then slowly, we practice. We come to know more and more gnana. Then we realize, oh my God, this human life is so important. I was just wasting it all these while working like a donkey, doing double shifts so much. I was into so much sense gratification. I was just wasting my time. But then we realize, okay, nevertheless, it is never too late. At least now we have opened our eyes. We realize now, oh yeah, now I have to be serious. I have to practice Krishna consciousness. Almost most of my life is over. Let me at least be serious now. So we get that seriousness now. So at least we start practicing Krishna consciousness now. Okay. So 9th shloka we'll see. Yagnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadabdam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Okay. So Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. See, anything that you do, just say Krishna Arpanam. Not just saying. It does not mean if you're doing your job, you say just Krishna Arpanam. I'm working for you, and you don't give part of your income to Krishna, right? There should be something where you're Krishna Arpanam you're doing. You are working for Krishna. That way it should be there. Not just saying anything and everything, just Krishna Arpanam, I'm doing this. And then you do all, you don't give anything to Krishna, your money, and you just use it for your sense gratification. Then what are you doing Arpanam to Krishna? Nothing, right? Like that. Okay. Otherwise, what happens if you don't offer it to Krishna? Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Because if you don't give your money to Krishna, it is not purified. You use it for yourself. You don't know whether you're using it for good purpose or bad purpose. Some people, they use it for buying cigarettes, drinking. So that is bad karma. They are accumulating bad karma. Maybe some part of the money they use for charity. So they get pious credit. So there'll be good and bad karma, because of which you will be attached to this material world. There'll be bondage, right? Because you have to come back. If you have good or bad karma, you have to come back to suffer and enjoy. So that's why what is Krishna saying? Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. So you do your job or whatever activity that you're doing for his satisfaction, for Krishna's satisfaction. In that way, you will remain free from bondage. So whatever you're doing, if you're learning anything, if you're watching any YouTube video also, you should think, oh, will this be useful for me to preach Krishna consciousness? I'm watching this. Oh, will this help me? If I watch this video, will it help me to set an example? I mean, give an example when I'm preaching. Then you say Krishna Arpanam. Right? Like that. It should be whatever your video you're watching or whatever you're doing, like, will it please, you just connect everything to Krishna and see if it is Krishna consciousness, related to Krishna consciousness. Okay, like that. You do all your work with Krishna, keeping Krishna in center. Then you will have no bondage at all. Okay, I think shall we continue or shall we stop, Matajis? Hare Krishna, Matajis?
Hare Krishna, will stop?
No, I'm okay, Mataji. I can continue. We are starting a new section actually. So that's why I thought I'll just ask you, Mataji, if you're okay. If you're okay, we'll continue. Otherwise, we can continue in the next class. I just wanted to ask you, Mataji, because I never know what appointments you have, right? That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock for me, 10 p.m.
Oh, fine, Mataji. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot you're in Australia. So we'll just stop here, Mataji.
Sure.
We'll try to take it from tomorrow.
No worries.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your valuable association. Really, I mean, so appreciative, even with all these hard working hours and late night, your focus. It says that even after coming back from work,